The Tokachi Plain is a magnificent sight. Obihiro Centennial City Museum shows the history of indigenous Ainu culture and the development of Hokkaido. An explorer, Takeshiro Matsuda, investigated Tokachi with local Ainu people as his guides. He wrote down the Ainu place names in his Tokachi diaries. The altar for ritual prayers is called Nusa. A carrying pouch made of bear skin to hold a flint. This is one that was actually used. The Obihiro Centennial City Museum not only shows the old culture, but also works to convey it to the future. Ainu Culture Information Center, Ryuka. Ryuka means bridge in the Ainu language of the Tokachi region. In those days, Ainu children are said to have acquired the wisdom and skills of life while playing. This place acts as a bridge for living culture.
Makobetsu Town is located near the middle of the Tokachi Plain. There was once a village called Chiroto-kotan. Ezo Culture Archaeological Museum. Kikutaro Yoshida, who was an Ainu leader of Chiroto-kotan, founded this museum with his private funds. Yoshida called out to his peers to preserve the disappearing Ainu culture of his hometown and kept collecting existence of his ancestors, such as hunting tools, clothes, and tableware. It is said that, driven by his enthusiasm, some people created and donated new folk crafts. We can touch historically important clothes such as atushi, the costume woven from bark fibers, and we can feel the handiwork of the Ainu people. The admission is free because Yoshida wanted many people to visit the museum.
The town of Honbetsu. The original name, Ponpet, means small river in the Ainu language. The village spread out where the Toshibetsu River and its tributary meet. Historical Folklore Museum of Honbetsu introduces the history of this town, which was a base for training war horses from the end of the Meiji era to the end of the Pacific War. There are also items that convey the lives of the indigenous Ainu. Most of the exhibits are daily necessities which were used in this area. Tobacco was used not only as a luxury article, but also in greeting and as a social tool. We can imagine the life at that time from the well-worn items. They are a record of what life was like back then.
Urahoro, on the Pacific coast. This is the remains of Chashi, which is said to have been used by the Ainu as a lookout place. This Otafunbe Chashi is designated as a National Historic Site. Historical Museum of Urahoro displays the clay pottery presumed to be the oldest in Hokkaido, and fossils such as ammonites. The customs and lifestyles of the indigenous Ainu people in this area are clearly introduced. Old coins and swords suggest that trade with Wajin was active. Researchers used to excavate and collect remains and grave goods at the Ainu cemetery in Urahoro once, but those stored at universities were later returned to the area. The museum displays a number of grave goods returned to Urahoro.